Welcome back to the Spider Talk News Show. We've got some big news to talk about. It doesn't seem like we've got a lot of news on the left-hand side of the screen there, but we do have news because these are quite big topics. So the topics that we have today: Tom Hardy leaks Spider-Man in Venom 3. Not specifically, but he said something that really alludes to the idea that Spider-Man will be in Venom 3. We've got Tom Holland and Zendaya reading the Spider-Man 4 script. They have read it. Tom Holland has officially confirmed this. There's also a few other Spider-Man 4 things that we need to talk about, but I'll talk about it sort of in that category. And we've also got another look at Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is meant to be coming out in a few weeks. I don't think that will be the case, but either way, that's what we've been told. What's been rumored the last few months, anyway. But either way, I'm just gonna promote the stream. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully, you're all okay. If you're watching this back after the stream has finished, then hopefully you're good. I'm just gonna post this. Streaming. Hi Jay, how are we doing? Yo, how's it going? What damage have they done to the wall crawler this time? Well, we're about to find out, aren't we? We're about to find out. Flaming Phoenix, it's finally getting cold where I live, says Flaming Phoenix. Oh, what country is it? I'm assuming it must be a quite hot country if it's only just getting cold, but it's freezing here. Actually, it's one of the warmest days in the United Kingdom. It is 13 degrees. So it's quite warm, all things considered. But either way, I'm just going to post the stream as I do. I will be one moment, and we'll get into the topic, shall we? Hey, Comic Central, how are we doing? So, right, by the way, I'm just going to ask this question. Has anyone read Ultimate Spider-Man issue 10 yet? I haven't read it, so no spoilers, but has anyone read it? Hi, Lewis, I heard you went through some crazy stuff today. It's just slightly insulting. Did I? Did I go through some crazy stuff? I don't know. I'm just sharing the stream. It takes me ages to do this because I'm a dumbass. I'm a dumbass and I'm dyslexic. Where I live, we get 2 summers. So cold is always appreciated. That's fair. I mean, if you're getting 2 summers, bro, I mean, like, cold is always appreciated, I guess. Which one was 10 again? What's that? Which one was 10? I don't. Which one was 10? What are we talking about? I don't know. Either way. Anyway, so if you've seen the title of the stream, then you might be thinking, Lewis, what do you mean Tom Hardy has leaked Spider-Man in Venom 3? How? Oh, Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah. Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah. Through, hey man, how we doing? So Tom Hardy has leaked Spider-Man in Venom 3. Now, it's not a direct leak, but it's sort of like a I'm gonna tell you he's in the movie, but I'm not gonna say he's in the movie. So essentially what he said was, he got asked a question in he's doing a press tour for The Last Dance. He got asked a question, essentially, is Spider-Man in the movie? Basically, right? Hey Ahmed, how we doing? Hi your mom, how you doing? He basically got asked the question, is Spider-Man in this movie? And the way he replied was, he goes, so I'm not going to say anything, because, you know, we can't disclose that, but you never know. That's basically what he said, right? Not his words, but that's basically what he said. So, does this mean Spider-Man is in Venom 3? I don't know. Tom Hardy could be trolling. He could just be being disingenuous, knowing that this is something people talk about. He could be trolling the media. Could be trolling us. Hi, John. How are we doing? I'm doing fine. Thank you, Fru. Hopefully you're okay. Yeah, he could be trolling the media, but I think that's quite interesting. I also do want to point out as well, Tom Hardy specifically has said for many years, he's been a very big advocate of Spider-Man crossing over with Venom in those movies. So, you know, so it's not like this, it's not like this isn't out the realms of possibility, is all I'm going to say. Read Ultimate Spider-Man 10 last night. It's peak, low-key more of a setup for issue, I'm guessing the next issue, Hickman cooks regardless as Comic Central. I haven't read it yet. I need to read it. My review will be coming very, very soon on issue 10. I've also got a video coming soon on what my thoughts are in general on Null being in in Spider-Man 4, so make sure you catch that as well. Can you rank all the Transformers movies? Okay, yeah, actually, I'm going to do that really quick. This is really off topic, but I'm going to do it. Okay, let's see. Are we going bottom to top? I haven't seen Transformers 1 yet. I will watch that. But out of the ones that are out right now, last is The Last Night. Fifth is probably Age of Extinction. Fourth, I'm going to go with Dark of the Moon. Third, I'm going to go the first one. Second, I'm going to go Revenge of the Fallen. I have a big thing for Revenge of the Fallen. I grew up on that movie. It's my childhood. Don't judge me. I know technically it is really bad. And then first is obviously got to be Bumblebee. Bumblebee is by far the best Transformers movie. Apart from Transformers 1, which I haven't seen yet, so no spoilers, but I'm going to go watch it. But that's my ranking. Anyway. Most likely in the post-credit scene in Let There Be Carnage, says Jay. Oh, and this is also something I also want to point out. So Jay makes a good point as well, that essentially we know that Tom Hardy has done reshoots the last few weeks for Venom 3 in New York. Now, what's interesting about it being in New York is that obviously these movies aren't set in New York, so there's no reason for them to be there. Obviously, we know that, you know, sometimes you don't have to do on-set filming. You can go to a different city to film different things, but they were out in public. And usually not all of the non-set stuff for big movies like the Sony movies and MCU movies and stuff, a lot of that's filmed in Atlanta, usually. Is a big place for that to be filmed. And they were filming in New York. So the rumor is that it was a post-credit scene, and it's probably going to connect to Spider-Man somehow. Which was interesting. So it is all coming together. And Tom Hardy, maybe he's leaked it, maybe he spoiled it, who knows. I Blame Javier Red, says Kyle. Have actors ever not appeared when others said they couldn't? Yeah, I mean, it's gone both ways, hasn't it? You know, sometimes people have trolled, sometimes people have been disingenuous, sometimes people haven't. Hey, Lewis, currently at work, had to watch your live stream. Well, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate that. We're 8 days from knowing if the reports are true. Lol, says Ahmad. Yeah, we are. It's going to be interesting. That's another thing as well. Make sure to stay tuned for my Venom 3 review video. My Venom 3 review video, obviously my Insta reaction will be available for the members only when I do come out of the movie theater. So, yeah. Manasses, I'm really sorry, I butchered the name. I'm gonna have to put you in timeout if you don't stop spamming because I can't read the chat. It's setting me off here. What about Rise of the Beast? Oh, I forgot about Rise of the Beast. I haven't seen that one either. Oh, damn. I forgot about Rise of the Beast. Damn. Okay. Jeez. Hello. Which Spider-Man would you love to see in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse? Victor, I'm not so sure because they were all in Across the Spider-Verse. So, right, sorry, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. Put in timeout. I'll put you in for 10 minutes because I can't. But to answer your question, will there be an Amazing Spider-Man 3? I'm not sure. Hopefully. But either way. Yeah. Bro is literally a bot, says Flaming Phoenix. Just don't spam. And we'll be all good. Thanks for answering the question. When will you watch Transformers 1? Will you make a video on the franchise? I'm going to watch Transformers 1 probably next week. If not this weekend, if I get time. I don't think I will. Probably next week. And I probably won't do a video on it. If I do, it'll be on LewisFilms Plus. Not on here, just because this is the Spider-Man sort of side. So you'll be able to catch it on LewisFilms Plus. I'll probably put a link to it on the channel for those of you so you can watch it. As much as I want TASM 3, it's very unlikely, says Jay. So anyway, I'm going to do a poll. You guys know I love the polls, so make sure to get ready. Let's do a poll. So, okay. Here's my question. You know exactly what it's going to be. Do you think Tom Holland will be in Venom 3? After what Tom Hardy said. We've discussed this question a few times in the past live streams. Can you make a review of Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes after you finish the show? If I ever watch it, I will do a review, yeah. Probably on LewisFilms Plus once again. Unrelated, but I'm praying the final swing scene suit from No Way Home stays for the entirety of Spider-Man 4. It's perfect, says Fru. Fru, I absolutely agree with you. That suit is peak. Personally, I will have to do a stream where I rank the Spider-Man suits again, because I did that stream quite a while ago. But It was a very long time ago. My opinions, I think, have changed. I do see some of the suits in a different light, especially the TASM 1 suit. I think I have a new affinity for that suit. But the final swing suit from No Way Home, I think, is peak, personally. Yeah. I'd rather not get my hopes up, says Jay. Interested in building a comic book industry? Would I be interested in building I'd be down. I'm down. I'm always down. I think it'll be a small role, but I think he'll come in as a cliffhanger for Spider-Man 4. 60% of you say no, so a lot of you aren't confident that he'll be in this. Okay, here's a question. If you click no, actually, because we've discussed why if yes, but if you've clicked no, let me know in the chat. Type in the chat. Give me your answer now. Let me know why you think Tom Holland won't be in Venom 3. Because that's very interesting. Yeah. Tom Holland isn't in Venom 3 because Sony can't use him because of the contract they'll have with Marvel. Well, that's not... I don't think that really matters now. You know, there was a time in the history of Spider-Man where that would have been the case. But I don't think that's a big issue anymore. Just because we're at a time where Marvel and Sony are constantly communicating, constantly re-signing stuff. And you know, he was in the Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene as well. Yeah, I just don't think we're at that time. You know, Spider-Man gets referenced and shows up in other Marvel movies now as well in the MCU. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a 50-50 chance Spider-Man 2 PS5 could get a director's cut after the DLC announcement or release, possibly. I doubt it. It seems very unlikely we're getting stuff for Spider-Man 2. I think we're going to have to hold out for Wolverine and then Spider-Man 3. If Marvel does the new suit each movie thing again for Spider-Man 4 to 6, they could do a spectacular black suit thing in between the movies. They could do. They could do would they change the black suit. They'd have to make it matter to the story though. Like depending on how they do the symbiote, if they do the symbiote and they're kind of just doing it to like sort of sell merchandise or I don't know, just making it because it's a cool thing. I don't know. They've got to make it make sense. I kind of prefer the red and black. Gives me amazing fantasy vibes. Says Jay. I really like the red and black suit. I had a thing for the red and black suit when Far From Home was coming out. I really liked that movie. The Null storyline will be resolved in Morbius 2, actually. Oh, Ahmad, please. Oh. Peak incoming. They may as well ignore the contracts by now, says Romantic Avocado. Also, welcome to the chat, Romantic Avocado. It's good to see you. Yeah, no, I completely agree. On that point, again, like, with the contracts thing, obviously talking about will Tom Holland be in Venom 3, I don't think it's any question if it can happen. It's just will it or won't it happen? Like, of course it could happen. You know, that Marvel and Sony are in bed together. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's a simple phone call. If Sony calls Marvel and goes, hey, you know, obviously we're doing the thing for Spider-Man 4, can we do a post-credit scene with Tom Holland? They'll probably just go, yeah, sure, go for it. Just don't contradict anything. And it's probably as simple as that nowadays. I'm obviously very oversimplifying, but you get the point. I don't think no Spider-Man and Venom 3 and MCU because I'm not sure. Maybe post-ending scene just like Venom 2. Maybe it depends. It depends what Spider-Man 4 is, I think, really. Insomniac, well, we do know that Venom has 2 post-credit scenes. So one of them could simply be sort of the goofy post-credit scene that, you know, you always see in sort of these movies. And the other one could be Spider-Man. You never know. Insomniac says we don't have any news to share on Spider-Man 2 because they don't have to talk about it yet. Maybe they're hiding secrets. Victor, I know you love Marvel Spider-Man 2. I do as well. But personally, I don't think we're going to get anything from that movie. Game. I don't think it's on the cards. I hope that the new Spider-Man trilogy, Peter gets a battle damage suit like in Spider-Man 2002. Bro, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this to happen for the longest time. They need to do this again. It was peak in... Even the TASM movies sort of did it. Like, it was peak. They need to do it again. I mean, there was Tom Holland deleted scene in Madam Web. Yeah, I mean, Dominic's hit a point. You know, they've you know, there was even stuff apparently that was connecting to Andrew Garfield in Madam Web. So, you never know. Want to create a comic book universe of our own? I'd love to create a comic book universe. I'm down. I've got a few ideas actually. Creating a comic book universe, like sort of like, yeah. Want to create a comic book universe of our own? Oh, absolutely. If anyone ever wants to, if anyone's like an artist or something, or got a few ideas, I'm always down to discuss ideas. I'm loving being creative at the moment. Actually, real quick, I want to just tease you guys on something I'm working on right now. It's a story that you guys may enjoy. I don't know. But I'm cooking in the background. I'm cooking at the moment. I'm enjoying my little creative spurt after sort of taking a step back on YouTube, sort of doing my own thing, and working on a few passion projects. You guys will see in due time. But I'm working on something big, and hopefully you guys will like it. Anyway, that's to come. I heard Null would be in Spider-Man 4 as well, and maybe Avengers Secret Wars. Exactly, right? So this is the thing with Venom 3. So Venom 3 is introducing this character Null. A lot of people think that Null is going to be in Spider-Man 4 just simply because he's too big of a character. The director is, in fact, I'm even going to pull up the quote. The director, we talked about this last week. If you guys were here in the stream last week, we already talked about this, but I'm going to pull up the quote again because he has said something. He said something else. I'm just going to pull up the quote. This is what he had to say. I'm really sorry for taking a while here because I've got to scroll through Twitter and find the Spider-Man news account, which, by the way, goated account. What did he say? He said, this is what he said. Why can't I find the post? This is what... Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is what he had to say. He says, there are many more symbiote stories. The universe is wide and rich. One movie could never do justice to Null. God is coming. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that Null's in Spider-Man 4, I don't know. And they confirmed that this is the last Venom movie. So it's got to be Spider-Man 4, right? So, as much as it would be great to have Spider-Man is Venom in Venom 3, I'd rather not get screwed over. It says Jay. Wait, can I please get the context about the Madam Web thing you just talked about? So, okay, I'll cover this real quick for those of you who aren't aware. Essentially, the reason, if you guys remember Madam Web and you watched it, a lot of the ADR was off. And what that means is the voiceover, right? The voiceovers. A lot of it, you may have heard the complaint that some of the dialogue didn't match the lips of the actors. Now, the reason for this is a lot of the dialogue was changed in post-production very, very late in the game, like weeks before it released. And they didn't have time to go back and do reshoots. And the reason this happened is because the movie went through major changes. So they had to change a lot of the stuff with the villain Ezekiel, because a lot of it connected to him. And essentially the rumor is, it's almost confirmed because this report came out quite a lot, that Sony initially wanted Madam Web to be the prequel to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. They wanted the movie to be about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and that is the baby Peter Parker. But then because they saw how bad the movie was, they backed out. And then there was rumors that apparently they wanted to connect it to Andrew Garfield, and that was sort of around the same time where they were trying to get Andrew Garfield to sign for the Sonyverse and connect the Tasmverse. It's all up in the air. I can't confirm nor deny whether a lot of that information is true, but that was the reports that we were getting, and based on sort of how the movie came out and sort of some of the things that were in the movie, I think some of that is true, especially the Tom Holland stuff. You know, a lot of the voiceover, it's really bad. The ADR is awful. The movie is cut really weirdly in certain places. Some of the narrative doesn't really make sense. Like, the Mary Parker stuff and the Uncle Ben stuff, it's not integral to the plot of the story at all. It really isn't. But what if it was originally? What if Ezekiel Sims instead was meant to go back and kill baby Peter Parker? But that never was the case. In the actual movie, but that was, you know, it would make a lot more sense in that regard. So, anyway, that exactly, Jay hits an nail on the head. Pick a lane, exactly. You got to pick a lane. That's it. Anyway, let's have a look at the chat. We've got a few chats to catch up on. What's your favorite Spider-Man comics run? Says Jay. Oh, good question. I might save this for the comic portion of the stream. No, you know what? I'll just go ahead right now. I don't know. In recent years, I'd say probably Nick Spencer. A while ago, Conway. I think Conway was sort of the turning point. I really enjoyed Conway's. The time in which I've read the least Spider-Man comics is sort of the 90s sort of era. Apart from a few select ones. So I'm yet to get to a large part of DeFalco and stuff. Obviously JMS is amazing as well. I did enjoy JMS's run. Obviously One More Day, of course, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth, but yeah, I don't know. Well, let me know in the chat, what's your favorite comic run, Spider-Man comic run? Oh yeah, TASM 3 might happen if they give Andrew a good script. So the death of Ultimate Spider-Man is great conclusion to his story and introduce Miles as a legacy character, replace Peter. It really worked. It did work. I could help with a few quick sketches if you'd like help. For free, says Romantic Avocado. It'd be awesome to work with some of you guys. That'd be awesome. I'm making a fan-made Spider-Man series on YouTube channel on November. That's awesome. Love that. Would you like to see Peter and Miles be Spider-Man together in the MCU? No. We've got it in the games. I'd like to see Miles be separate. I want to see something... I know Peter is integral to Miles' story, but I want to see something where Miles is on his own. And I don't just mean like the Spider-Verse movies. I mean properly, right? And I think that's what we need. It's funny when you realize that Spider-Man and Null have never interacted before in the comics. This is exactly what I'm saying. This is actually a good point. Ties very nicely into my video I've got coming out this weekend on Null and Spider-Man 4. One of the big points I make is Null and Spider-Man have never even interacted in the comics. Ever. Null's not a Spider-Man villain. Null is a Venom villain. He's not a Spider-Man villain. You know, he is a villain of the symbiotes. He's got nothing to do with Spider-Man at all. The only thing he has in common with Spider-Man is the fact that Spider-Man had a symbiote. And that's it. That's literally it. You know, if Sony did a Sinister Six universe that followed the MCU footprint, I think their universe could be good. It depends what matters who is in charge of that universe to make it similar to the MCU. Yeah, I mean, that could be interesting. I thought that Andrew and The Amazing Spider-Man 3 one more time. Thank you for the context as through. Hi, Kinderman. How we doing? My favorite comic when Otto Octavius became Spider-Man. Oh, Superior Spider-Man? Yep. Any way to contact you about the comic book universe? Yeah, Discord. My Discord handle is... Actually, you know what? I don't remember my Discord handle off the top of my head, so I do apologize. But if you go in the description of this stream... Actually, no. It probably... Excuse me. It probably isn't in the description. It might be. Go to another video of mine. Check the description. There's a link to the Discord server, and obviously I'll be in there. So that's sort of how you... And then just DM me. I'm so sorry. I'd give you my Twitter handle. I'd give you my Discord handle, but I really don't remember it. So yeah, my favorite Spider-Man comic is Superior Spider-Man. If you could pick a Spidey movie to be continued with a comic like Batman 89, which Spidey would it be? Toby, Andrew, or Spectacular? Like Batman 89. Andrew. Oh. Toby's out the question. Sorry, Toby fans. Toby's out the question. Toby had it. Toby, out of all of the characters, out of Toby, Andrew, Spectacular, Toby had the best conclusion. Right. JMD SSM, you already know, says Ahmad. It's interesting. Andrew deserves the most justice because of what happened with TASM 2. But low-key, a Spectacular Spider-Man comic would be more interesting. Personally, I'd go Spectacular. Sorry, Andrew. I know. Sorry, Andrew. I know. I'm sorry. It have to be Spectacular, I think. Oh, it would be good, though. Ray, you've really hit me with a predicament there. I also like Nick Spencer's run as well as JMS. BMB's Ultimate Spider-Man, if that counts. That does count. Oh, wait. That is my favorite run of all time. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking anything other than the 616, but yeah, overall, Ultimate Spider-Man is mine. JMS, JMD Mateus are my favorite runs as Comic Central. Good picks. JMD Mateus obviously peak as well. Andrew Spider-Man versus Mr. Negative would be a cool live action fight. 90s Spectacular Spider-Man is my favorite run, but the new Ultimate Spider-Man run is great. Do you think MCU Spider-Man will make a Miles Morales movie, but on a different universe? No. I think Sony is going to end up doing it. Well, I swear they've interacted before. No, never. They might have maybe exchanged one sentence at some point. I can't remember. Possibly. If I missed something, but no. I wanted them to go the ultimate route with Miles in the MCU and have Peter's death, but with the rumors of reboot for the MCU, I'd hate to kill Peter off now, says Comic Central. I do agree. I think Peter needs to survive for a bit longer. I'd love to see Peter grow up and marry Zendaya's MJ and have kids. I think that could be cool. We've never gotten anything like that. You know how the MCU revolutionized superhero movies in terms of an expanded universe? One thing that we've still never seen in superhero movies is a very, very long-haul franchise that takes the character sensibly from a teenager to a fully grown adult with kids. I don't think we've seen that. And if we have, remind me. But I think this could be something special we have with Tom Holland Spider-Man. And I really, really hope it's the case. But either way. I recommend you watch the fan-made series Spider-Man Learning to Crawl. Oh, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I can't believe Marvel still hate MJ and Peter belong together. I think Sam Raimi version of MJ made Marvel Studio hate the character, says Dominic. I think the recent adaptations of MJ have definitely played a part. I want a comic filling the gap in between Raimi 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. I definitely think a comic in between 1 and 2 would be good. 3 takes place a few months after 2. This is a fact that not many people know. Canonically, Spider-Man 3 takes place a few months after Spider-Man 2. But Spider-Man 2 takes place 2 years after Spider-Man 1. So I think a comic series in between 1 and 2 would be really interesting. Tasm versus Vampire Family, I forgot the name. We need more action and swinging for the MCU Spider-Man. I've come to accept that Spider-Man 4 will be multiverse even if I don't agree. I only hope that they don't lose sight of what is the most important part of the story, Peter Parker. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. If you watch Learn to Crawl, please review it. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, because we've pretty much covered all the Venom 3 stuff. 58% of you say no in the chat, which is very, very interesting. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is Tom Holland and Zendaya read Spider-Man 4. This is legit. This comes in from Tom Holland himself, and here's what he had to say. So him and Zendaya have read the Spider-Man 4 script, and this is what he said. He was asked about Spider-Man 4, and he said, and I quote, "It needs work, but the writers are doing a great job. I read it 3 weeks ago, and it really lit a fire in me. Zendaya and I sat down, read it together, and we at times were bouncing around in the living room. Like this is a real movie worthy of like fans' respect." So that is very, very interesting. Tom Holland has also said as well regarding Spider-Man 4 that he pitched an idea for Spider-Man 4 a while back that got rejected by Kevin Feige because it's an idea very similar to Captain America 4, which is also interesting. I don't know what that says about Spider-Man 4, but oh well. He also was asked about Miles Morales and bringing him into the MCU, and Tom Holland said, "I'd love to do for a young kid what Robert Downey Jr. did for me." So all positive things coming from Tom Holland. But that's very interesting. So obviously we don't get any sort of leaks, spoilers and that sort of thing, but we've got positive news. We know that there's been this thing for a while that, is Tom Holland going to come back? Is Zendaya going to come back? He's read the script. He's literally told us he's read the script. Him and Zendaya have read the script. It's looking good. That's good. And he even said that it needs work, which is also positive. It means he's not just taking it lying down. Tom Holland wants this to be a movie that he's proud of. He said many times that he'll come back if the story's right. And him saying that it needs work, but they're on the right track, is also very positive. So I'm very happy about this. I also like his comments about Miles Morales. That does fill me with hope. Although I would like to see more of a solo Miles Morales thing. If they do introduce him in the MCU, that would also be interesting. Yeah, and obviously the sentiment of doing what RDJ did for Tom Holland, obviously Tom Holland doing it for the next up-and-coming Spider-Man would be interesting as well. That would be a very big passing of the torch moment. So yeah, that's very interesting, and I'm very happy about that. Let me just do a poll. Do you think Spider-Man 4 will be good? Just a very general question, but does this news get you excited? Based on what Tom Holland has said. I've missed some of your chats. Let me go through them. Comic Central says, "Kind of crazy how poorly MJ has been adapted. Outside of Spectacular and the first Raimi movie, I feel like no adaptation has done MJ justice." This is a topic I've covered many times in the past, but I totally agree. I think Raimi MJ is a good character up until the third movie. That might be a hot take. I personally believe she's a good character. But I don't think she's an amazing adaptation of MJ. I think as an adaptation of Mary Jane Watson, I think there is room for improvement. But as a character, I don't think she's that bad. Spectacular was good. The Insomniac games, she's an okay character. She fits for that version, but she's not Mary Jane Watson. She's Lois Lane. Sorry, you know. The comics have been bad. The Ultimate comics have been good. That's good. Although, to be fair, although she is a little bit more MJ in that, she's still a journalist, and yeah, that's kind of becoming a staple of the character now. So I think we can sort of run with it. And she's got characteristics of MJ. I still would have maybe liked to see her be an actor or a performer. I think that would have been interesting. We haven't seen that for MJ in a while. A lot of people will say, well, isn't that a bit boring? Well, no, because I think a lot of adaptations recently have MJ be a journalist. I think it'd be more interesting to sort of go back to that. That's the only thing I'd say about Ultimate MJ at the moment. But no, on the large part, yeah, MJ, I don't think it has been adapted very well recently. I hope that Spider-Man 4 has Peter Parker grow up. Yeah, I agree. MCU need Mayday Parker as Spider-Woman. Let's pray Tom doesn't spoil it. You know something stupid I hear about all Spider-Man movies? He always pulls his mask off. You see, the reason they do that is because the actors get paid a certain amount of money, and obviously their faces make money, so, you know, I've learned to ignore that fact. I do get what you mean, though. Maybe the Spot can be Tom Holland's big villain. I don't think they'll do that because of the Spider-Verse movies, but that would be cool. I have tons of ideas for the comic book universe. I'm so happy that you're interested. If anyone have in mind who can help us, I don't know. I'm interested in discussing ideas. I've had a few ideas of a sort of an original comic book universe for a while, to be fair. It's just ideas at the moment. I'd love to bounce ideas. But yeah, I'm sort of in my creative era right now. Am I terrible for saying that I'd want Spider-Man and Miss Marvel team up, considering they're the only superheroes, teen superheroes in the MCU? No, absolutely not. I don't think that's ridiculous. I think that's fair. Miss Marvel's a fantastic character. In the MCU, she's not there yet. I think there's definitely room for improvement, but her comic counterpart, however, is very good. And hopefully they can sort of get the ball rolling in the MCU with her. And I'd love to see her team up with Spider-Man. I tried to be optimistic, but obviously Tom wouldn't talk negatively about the script. Maybe just because I can accept that it's going to be multiverse as fruit. That's also fair. Tom Holland isn't going to, you know, poo all over it. But I also think... I don't think Tom would sign to this movie if it was going to be bad. Am I bad in saying that? I don't know. Slightly Insulting says, Tom Spidey is never having a solo movie. Is he? Lamau, they're going to cross him over with Venom, maybe Daredevil, and then by the time it's over, he'll have Miles in his movies. Yeah, no, it's never going to be. I mean, you know, we were settling with Daredevil for Spider-Man 4, but now it's looking more like Multiverse and Venom. Then obviously, we had those reports from Alex Perez that they were thinking about pushing the street-level stuff back to Spider-Man 5 and 6. And if they do that, then it's almost certainly going to be Daredevil and Kingpin in Spider-Man 5. Who else could we do? Like we mentioned, possibly even Miss Marvel at some point. I don't know. Kate Bishop, maybe. There's a variety of opportunities. And based on what they do with the new Fox characters that they attain, you know, maybe Kitty Pryde, maybe at some point. You know, she had a big role in the Ultimate comics, in the Bendis ones. So you never know, do you? Have you seen any of the old Incredible Hulk movies? I have. I think that Spider-Man 4 has a better chance of being bad than good, but I'm praying they surprise me. Spider-Man fans need this movie. Maybe it will be the fan base less salty after the Paul stuff. I'm guessing that's meant to mean. Hopefully. How did you feel when Spectacular Spider-Man got cancelled? I was a bit too young to sort of process that, but in hindsight, very sad. Maybe, I don't know, for sure, we have to wait and see if Spider-Man 4 is good. I heard that Shang-Chi director would be directing. Yep. He is. You already know my opinions on MJ in your video, says Jay. MCU MJ should dye her hair red in the new trilogy. Who would you cast as Mayday Parker if Peter and MJ get pregnant in the MCU? It's time for Spider-Man to have a family he deserves. I don't know, because they're probably not born yet. They're probably not born yet. I don't know. Maybe they are. Yeah, I mean, that's a while down the line. We've got to think. Spider-Man Spider-Man 4, 2026. And let's just assume that it's another 2 years between them. So 2028, 2030. And then maybe it's another 4-year break before maybe a new trilogy potentially. Exploring that. Or a Mayday trilogy. That's another 4 years, 2034. So 10 years down the line. How old would Mayday be? Maybe she'd be 14 if they do a time jump. But if they do a sort of a baby Mayday, sort of like how they do in the Ultimate Comics or how they did in Renew Your Vows or anything like that. Sorry, the Spider-Verse movies. Then she'd be like 7 or 8, 9, 10 years old, right? So the actress who plays her might not even be born yet. We don't know. Maybe they are, but they'd be like 1 or 2 years old. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know who would cast. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. I don't think MCU Spider-Man could mentor Miles. He doesn't really feel like his own man. This is another thing as well. I think that there needs to be time. And this falls under the Mayday thing as well. I think there's time that needs to be had before Peter can sort of be that mentor figure. To Mayday, to Miles. I don't know, right? I love Miss Marvel, but I hate the Marvels for how that made character look bad. Yeah, the general audience don't like Miss Marvel. And it's such a shame because Miss Marvel is one of the greatest modern comic book characters to grace the page. And I don't mean that lightly. I'm being deadly serious. But people will go, Lewis, what do you want about, bro? Miss Marvel sucks, man. No, the comics don't, though. The comics are really good. The comics are genuinely good. So, yeah. Tom had already signed for another trilogy before the script was ready, so he has no choice if the script is bad. I guess that's true. I guess that's true. I was really hyped for a street level story with Daredevil and Kingpin. Another multiverse story would just make it formulaic. I think Doctor Strange would be in Venom 3 when the movie is over to take Eddie and Venom to the MCU, and that's how Spider-Man 4 starts. You know what? I mean, if you're right, fair enough. Dying Silk in this movie would be rad. I don't know if it will happen, and who would the casting be? I have no idea. Oh, no, Silk's already in the MCU. Cindy Moon is already in the MCU, so that would be cool. Victor is here to shatter Lewis into pieces. How do you feel after Spectacular Spider-Man got cancelled after Comic Historian's passing? Oh, did he ask a question about Comic Historian? Oh, he did. How do you feel when Comic Historian... Oh, man, I was in pieces. I don't know if you guys saw my post, but rest in peace to Comic Historian, man. Yeah, it was. I mean, I grew up with that man. He was partially responsible for getting me into the Ultimate Comics because he did that sort of run through with the Ultimate Comics, didn't he, back in the day? Yeah, a very long time ago now, and yeah, and he got me reading them. Yeah. It was a real big shame, man. Really big shame. Gone too soon. Which Spider-Man comic has the best art? Loki right now. Ultimate Spider-Man. Who do you think will play Mayday Parker in the slightly insulting Spider-Man series? Well, nice little promo there. It's in the corner though. You should go subscribe to Slightly Insulting. I don't know. Who would play Mayday? I don't know. Who would? I can't believe Silk TV series was cancelled. It's not cancelled yet. It's being repurposed. It might get picked up by a studio. I've never understood the Marvel slander. I really enjoyed the Marvels. Watched it 3 times in theatre, says Comic Central. Fair enough. Yo, LewisFilms would you like to see Miles Morales be introduced in Tobey Maguire's universe? That could be cool. I liked Ms. Marvel's show. I haven't seen the Marvels, but I think she suffers from the MCU's quantity versus quality. Absolutely. Hello, any news, says Apple. Well, we've discussed some of the news so far. We're currently on the MCU Tom Holland sort of section of the video. Are you following our Supreme Leader Lord Doom here on YouTube? I am not. I don't know who Lord Doom is. Do we still know if it'll be a multiverse film? It will be. Very looking like it is going to be. Do you think Peter getting a new job at the Daily Bugle and struggling with rent in the MCU is a good idea? Yes, I think that's the perfect way to go in the character right now. Keep it basic. Maybe I'm delusional, but I still don't believe Spider-Man 4 leaks. Maybe Venom 3 will change my mind, but as of right now, I don't. Ahmad, I respect that you might be holding on to belief that possibly we might get something a bit different. I'm just sort of accepting it now before I get disappointed. But I respect that. That's fair enough. That best Spider-Man comic, Black Suit, Spider-Man and Superior Spider-Man comics. Do you think you'd be able to take the amount of tragedy Peter goes through in his life No. I don't know who anyone could. It's crazy. Can't escape the multiverse, says Apple. The MCU needs to give Miss Marvel her real powers. They're limiting her heavily by giving her more magical abilities. He's talking about this straight out of Latveria YouTube channel. I think says Flaming Phoenix. I haven't heard of it. Maybe I'll give it a look up. Imagine if they did a Superior Spider-Man movie, but rated R. Would be very cool to see, says Dominic. Hey Lewis, dead late to the stream. No worries, no worries. But either way, I've got something exciting to show you. Let's move on from the Tom Holland talk. 80% of you said yes, Spider-Man 4 is going to be good. So a little bit more of optimism. Did you see Smallville? No, I never saw Smallville, unfortunately. Bro, I take all the leaks with a grain of salt. I mean, all the times there's been leaks, they've just never happened. Well, the thing is, Bila, I understand that. But there's been, I mean, every leaker under the sun is reporting it. And you know, usually when that's the case, that usually means that it's sort of almost nailed on. Still take it with a grain of salt, though. I'm not saying don't. Still, please do. Obviously, we're all hoping it's not true, but it's also coming in from people like Alex Perez, you know, Daniel RPK, and, you know, respected names. And obviously, people like RPK have had a bad rep recently, but overall, there's a reason why people listen to them. It's because they are respected, and we've had this conversation in the chat before. I think Ahmad in the chat has made a good point. At one point, he said it's convenient how sort of the leaks come out sort of when stuff looks likely to happen rather than when it's unlikely to happen, and I completely understand that. But obviously, so many people reporting it. Null and Venom 3, everything's sort of lining up. Yeah, what the director's saying about Null as well, what Tom Hardy's saying about Spider-Man, it's just looking likely, is all I'm saying. Gwen death in TASM always gives me tears. The multiversal route isn't an all bad idea, considering by then we'd be all in on the Doom stuff. Having a street-level film at that time might feel weird, like having the comedic Ragnarok in Phase 6. Yeah, you might be right there. You might be right there, actually. That's quite a good point to consider. TASM 2 or No Way Home are both bad ending. Gwen died, MJ forgot in the other. No Way Home over TASM 2 every day. Do you subscribe to the theory that only Peter Parker could have become Spider-Man? No, absolutely not. That's the worst idea to happen to the character ever, in my opinion. I will die on this hill. I'm very on the fence with a few things, and I've actually been criticized for being on the fence before. But this is one thing I'll never be on the fence for about, right? The idea that Spider-Man has to be Peter Parker is sacrilege, in my opinion. It is. It's stupid. The reason I think that is because I've made a video about this before, but and we've talked about this, but the reason I think that's the case is because it takes away the everyman element of the character. And the everyman element of the character is that it so happens that this happened to Peter Parker. You know, it's not Peter Parker's destiny to become Spider-Man. It's not a chosen one story. There's nothing wrong with chosen one stories, right? Harry Potter is a chosen one story. Star Wars is a chosen one story. There are many other chosen one stories out there. They're fine. But Spider-Man was specifically designed not to be a chosen one story. You know, he's a kid. He's a random kid from Queens, and he's a kid that me or you could be, and that was the point of him. The characters that are designed specifically to be the chosen one aren't designed to be you or me. They're designed to be characters that we look up to, right? They're characters that inspire the masses, and we're a part of the masses. Spider-Man is also a part of the masses. That is a part of his character. If you ever want to frame Spider-Man in a way, to write him or to sort of gauge what the character's like, the way the character thinks, the way he feels, don't self-insert yourself, but go, Spider-Man's a part of the masses. Or Peter Parker, should I say, is a part of the masses. Peter Parker is a part of the masses, and he's just one of us. He's one of us looking up to these other people. He's looking up to the Avengers. He's looking up to the Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, everyone. He's seeing these things through the eyes of a normal man. He doesn't have loads of money. He doesn't have extreme wealth, tech. He doesn't have any of these things. He's just a kid from Queens. And he gets given the responsibility of being a superhero. And that's what makes him special. It's like, what if I said to you, what if you just got powers one day? How would you react? How does that affect your life, your loved ones? Iron Man doesn't have to worry about what his Aunt May is doing on a Tuesday night. He's rich enough to solve that problem. Plus, everyone knows he's Iron Man. He's Iron Man. He's got everything he needs in the world. But Peter Parker has to think about these things because he's one of us. He suffers the same as us. So, no, Spider-Man should not be the chosen one. Peter Parker shouldn't be the only one who can get bit by the spider. It's the stupidest idea, and it's complete character assassination. I rest my case. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry, I got a bit of a rant there. Crypto will be in James Gunn's Superman, looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm liking the idea of it. If you was Sony in 1998 and had the chance to get a Marvel character IP besides Spider-Man, who would you have bought? In retrospect, financially, you'd have to say Iron Man, but obviously Iron Man wasn't big at the time. Probably Wolverine or the Incredible Hulk. I think that's who you buy. Wolverine or the Hulk, I think, is who you go with. Why do you think Peter's gonna die in Marvel Spider-Man 3? Makes sense for the story, personally. I mean, no leaker talked about Null before Venom 3 trailer, which showed first look of him, and after the trailer dropped, everyone jumped in. Very good point. I actually did find another leaker that talked about Null before the trailer, actually a few years back, just after No Way Home. So people have done it, which, you know, once again also solidifies the point, which I was making earlier, that I think we've just got to accept that this is happening. Spider-Man 2099 movie would be amazing. I agree. If they do an MCU version of Doc Ock, do you think they'll let the Superior Spider-Man story arc, Sinister Six, Vengeful Ultimate Edition, or the Lady Octopus version? I think they'll just follow the 616 comics. Yeah, but it's so random that he's the best. But that is best friend father is one that made radioactive spider. Not in every case. Norman Osborn has something to do with the spider bite in the Ultimate Comics, the old ones. But in many adaptations, he doesn't have anything to do with it. But obviously, this is also a criticism that Spider-Man gets. They say he's the everyman, but all his villains are connected to Peter Parker. I think you've got to play a fine balance, because I think most great narratives thrive off... This just goes for storytelling in general. I think, in my opinion, most great narratives thrive off the idea that everything's at least sort of interconnected. Everything happens for rhyme and reason. But then if you do that too much with Spider-Man, that also negates the everyman aspect. Like, how come all the villains are connected to Peter Parker? How come Eddie Brock becomes Venom? How come Harry Osborn becomes Green Goblin? How come Ned Leeds becomes Hobgoblin? How come Norman Osborn becomes Green Goblin? You know, how come all these people become all these different villains? So yeah, it's, you know, it's something we have to talk about and consider. Actually, on my reread of the Lee and Ditko books, which, by the way, my review will be out very soon that doesn't actually happen as much as you think it would. But it really works because they play very much into the everyman aspect of the character. Like, Peter genuinely just comes across the likes of Vulture, Doc Ock, Electro. Even Dr. Connors isn't inherently tied to Peter originally. And like it's genuinely really crazy to see how many of these villains have been adapted to be closer to Peter than was initially conceived, whether it's in later comics or in movies. It's really interesting, actually. So yeah. In 616 universe, Norman had nothing to do with the spider bite. Exactly. It was just a random spider that turned radioactive. Exactly. Greetings, the funny guy. I think you are the funny guy. I liked how JMS handled Peter being chosen, phrased it as a possibility rather than a definite answer. Yeah, JMS did it interestingly, didn't he? He didn't, because TASM 2 did the thing where, oh, Peter's blood or his dad's blood was in the spider, therefore if anyone else got bit, they'd die. And Peter didn't because it was his dad's blood. Whereas JMS did the whole totem thing, right? So that's a tad different because the spider still could have bit someone else. I'm still 50-50 on it. I love JMS's run. I think he did wonders for MJ as well. And a bunch of stuff he did wonders for that we all sort of respect. And I don't think a lot of us realize how much influence his run had on Spider-Man nowadays. But The totem thing, I was still a bit unsure on. I don't think it is bad as the TASM 2 route, because I think it's, you know, it's cosmic. And on the grounded side of things, that spider still could have bit anyone else, so... Batman's villains aren't connected to him at all. No, they're not. Well, no, the thing is, some of them are, though. That's the thing, some of them are. Like, I'm talking adaptation-wise. You just look at, for example, Two-Face in The Dark Knight. Like, these are examples of narratives that intertwine their stories to come with, you know, sort of the whole package. Most successful narratives will have a villain that's tied directly to the hero in some capacity. You look at The Dark Knight. You look at Spider-Man 2, for example, that then connected Doc Ock with Peter. You look at Spider-Man 1. Obviously, you know, the Dark Knight with like we said, with Two-Face. It's, you know, it connects a lot of the villains, antagonists, whoever they may be, to the central character. It happens. It does happen. It's probably the reason why MC Spider-Man got his villains tied to Iron Man to negate the fact that that until No Way Home. But then again, exactly, like, Spider-Man's tied heavily to Iron Man. Have the villains do as well. It's just rhyme and reason. It always happens. But obviously with Spider-Man, it's a bit different, where it's like you can't have all the villains tied directly to the main character. You can't, because it sort of negates the fact that he's the Everyman. But you know, they when the main character connects to the main villain, it always makes for a better story. Usually. Even Deathstroke worked better from not being a Batman villain. He had similar background story to Captain America. That was only in the Lee and Ditko run. Peter had zero connections with his villains. Yeah, literally. He literally didn't. Which is actually interesting now that I think about it. Until Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock is some big, vaguely German dude who gets his plan ruined by Spider-Man. Yeah, 99% of Spider-Man villains have no personal connection to Peter in the comics. By the way, Ned isn't actually the Hobgoblin in the comics. He was just framed. Yeah, it was Roderick Kingsley, right? I was just using Ned as an example because Ned, you know, he has been the Hobgoblin since then. Letterboxd. The JMS run was really good, and we got to see a lot of new things at the time. In TASM 2, I never took Peter as being the only one that could be bit, because there is no reason to believe that. Peter says it once, Harry just believes it. The thing with that is that someone else could have been, but at the same time, they would have died. Because Peter is the only one who could have physically been bitten. Like, successfully, should I say, be bitten. Would have been a bit more compelling if Harry questioned it and Peter was unwilling to risk it. That could also be true, Comic Central. That could also be true. But either way, let's move on to the first look at Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This is interesting. You guys are going to want to see this. So, this is a screenshot from New York. A new poster for the show. Here we go. This is very cool. We get a good look at Spider-Man himself. I'm going to make this a bit bigger here. We get a very good look at Spider-Man himself. A very, very Spider-Man-like pose. And obviously we get a good look at what the, like, sort of the landscape will look like. The art style. It's very cool. It's very comic booky. It's very sort of early 60s, late 70s, sort of in that era of style. There's hints of that in there, definitely. Is that Stark Tower in the background? Let me zoom in on that real quick. What is that? Is that Stark Tower? I don't know. I'm just seeing this now. That's not Stark Tower. That's not. Something... Oh, is that Oscorp? That's Oscorp Tower. That's Oscorp Tower by the looks of things in the background. Does that say Oscorp? I think that says Oscorp. But yeah. Looks very cool. Looks very cool. Very nice poster. Yeah, and obviously, I think this show is looking really good. I'm really pleased with the animation, especially coming off the back of Marvel's Spider-Man, the 2017 show. That obviously... Oh, could be the Bugle? Oh, it could be the Bugle, potentially. I don't know what that says. I just assumed Oscorp. It kind of looks like Oscorp from TASM, to be fair. Yeah, coming off the back of Marvel Spider-Man, the show, this is a big step up in quality for the art style. 100%. And I'm sure the animation will be great as well. But this is the new look that we've got. This is a real-life person on the end here. This was taken in New York. So that's really, really interesting. It looks really good. So I'm really happy. This, obviously, this show is meant to come out in November, but I don't think it will. I'm going to do a poll, actually. Do you really think this show releases this year? I'll give the benefit of the doubt and say it could potentially release in December. But yeah. We need Namor Hulk movie from the MCU. Would be good to see. Namor did debut before Aquaman. It's kind of predictable. That happened back in Spider-Man 3. The Bugle, it looks like. We read that one. I swear we need more good animation series from Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, says Dominic. Honestly, I think the suit is kind of mid, but still excited for it. I'm just excited to see what the evolution of the suit looks like. Man, I really hate the homemade suit trend. Traditionally, he makes all of his suits, so I really dislike the trend of him making a bit of a rubbish one first, says Comic Central. That's fair enough. It has gone on for a while, hasn't it? There's no way this show is coming out next month at this point unless we get a trailer within the next week, says Ahmad. I'm starting to not believe that this show comes out this year. I mean, they announced that it would come out this year. They literally confirmed it. So I don't know. They said fall. Fall is over in a month and a half. I'd like to be hyped for this show, but Marvel's been all over the place with this show, and the marketing is all over the place, non-existent. Yeah, I don't know when this show is going to come out. But anyway, that's our new look at Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It's looking... I think it looks good. I think it really, really does look good, and I'm really excited for it. So 58% of you said no, so 42% of you are still holding out hope that this show will come out in November or this year. So we're going to give the benefit of the doubt and say December potentially. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one, this, isn't it? It's an interesting one. But either way, that has been pretty much it for the stream. I guess we kind of already had our comic book section sort of mid-stream there. We sort of covered our little comic chat that we do. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about. But yeah, my voice is going. I don't know if you can tell. My voice is really, really going. My throat is starting to, like, seize up here. Good grief. When you've asthma, it's not really the greatest thing in the world. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to Slightly Insulting, by the way. Also, I'm going to be doing... Akim? Welcome. Oh, well, we're actually just ending, so that's really unfortunate. But maybe final Discord... I'll find Discord and check yours. Check ours out. I heard Sony doing a Venom animation anytime soon. Oh, yeah, that was quite a while ago. But anyway, yeah. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I also do want to announce, obviously, subscribe to Slightly Insulting in the corner. I've got a few big things coming soon, so make sure to keep an eye out. I will review Transformers 1 on LewisFilms Plus, as well as probably the Agatha series. Off topic, are there any new other comic runs you're enjoying right now other than Spider-Man? There isn't, unfortunately, but I am going to start reading the Ultimates. Not the Ultimates, Ultimate X-Men, and sort of try and gauge the whole Ultimate Universe. And before we go, what did you prefer, Lee Ditko or Lee Romita? I'm gonna leave that until the video. Sorry, Ahmad. I don't want to spoil my video here. I'm gonna leave that. I've got an interesting take. Okay, I got an interesting take. Yeah, I'll leave that for my video. I'll leave you a little teaser. Yeah, anyway, so I've got some big things coming. I'm currently writing a story that hopefully you guys will enjoy. More info on that at some point down the line. I'll give you updates. I'm really, really happy with it. And thanks for the stream. Thanks for coming, Beeler. I do appreciate it. Are you Team Gwen or Team MJ? Team MJ. Get some rest. Yeah, I'm really tired. I don't know if you can tell. I'm knackered, man. I'm knackered. I'm going to bed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And I will catch you guys in a bit. Video coming this weekend. Make sure to stay tuned.